Every traveler makes mistakes. Some are small, some ruin the trip, but almost all of them share one thing in common. Today, we're uncovering the most common mistakes every traveler makes and how they quietly turn a dream journey into a string of frustrations. 1. The airport trap. Our story begins at the airport, the place where excitement is highest and common sense is at its lowest. You've been awake for 10 hours, you're clutching your passport like it's a winning lottery ticket, and you're finally stepping into this foreign land. But here's mistake number 1. Rushing. Tourists always rush. Rushing off the plane, rushing through immigration, rushing to grab a taxi. And in the rush, that's when you pay double. Taxi drivers at airports know this game better than anyone. You're tired, you're confused, you don't know the local rates. So the friendly driver outside quotes you a price that sounds reasonable. You nod, throw your bags in, and congratulations. You've just been scammed before even leaving the airport. The smarter move? Pause. Breathe. Research ahead. Find the official taxi stands or use the local transportation apps. Because nothing ruins your first impression of a country faster than realizing you just paid the equivalent of 3 dinners for a 15-minute ride. 2. The hotel blind spot. You finally arrive at your hotel. Relief washes over you. The lobby looks nice, the bed is soft, and you think, perfect, everything's set. But here comes mistake number 2, never checking the location. So many tourists book hotels based on the photos, the stars, or the reviews without checking where the hotel actually is. You wake up the next morning, ready to explore, and realize you're an hour away from everything. That beautiful, affordable hotel with a view? Yeah, it's affordable because it's basically in another city. Now, every day of your trip will involve long, exhausting commutes that drain your energy, your time, and your budget. The lesson? Location is everything. A small, modest hotel in the center is worth far more than a fancy palace in the middle of nowhere. 3. The currency curse. Day 2. You're walking around, excited, hungry, and curious. Then it hits you. You need cash. This is where mistake number 3 strikes. Exchanging money at the worst possible place. Airports, hotel desks, tourist hotspots, they all have one thing in common: terrible exchange rates. You hand over your crisp bills only to realize later you lost 15, 20, even 30% of your money in the trade. It doesn't stop there. Some tourists take out cash from random ATMs, not knowing about international fees. Suddenly, your bank is charging you $10 just to look at your own money. The smart traveler, they research the best ATMs or exchange offices beforehand. They get a travel card, they prepare. Because money mistakes don't just hurt your wallet, they put stress into your trip. And stress is the fastest way to kill adventure. 4. The overpacking disaster. Now let's rewind a little back to the beginning. Packing. Mistake number 4 is universal: overpacking. Every tourist thinks, what if I need this shirt? What if it rains? What if I decide to hike a volcano at 3 a.m.? And so they pack their entire closet, half a pharmacy, and 3 pairs of shoes they'll never wear. And then they spend their entire trip dragging a heavy suitcase like it's a ball and chain. You see them on cobblestone streets, sweating, dragging luggage that wasn't designed for medieval sidewalks. You see them at train stations, panicking because their bag doesn't fit in the overhead compartment. You see them at the airport paying $200 in overweight fees. The truth? You never need as much as you think. The more you carry, the less you enjoy. Travel light, and suddenly the world feels freer. 5. The tourist menu trap. It's lunchtime, you're starving. You find a restaurant near the main square, the waiter waves you in, and you sit down, excited for authentic local food. Big mistake. Because here comes mistake number 5. Eating in the tourist zones. That local dish you're about to eat, it's designed for tourists. The prices are inflated, the flavors watered down, the experience fake. Real food is not found next to the souvenir shops. Real food is in the small alleyways, the corner joints where menus aren't translated, the places where locals actually eat. The rule of thumb: if the restaurant has pictures of food on the menu, or worse, a guy waving you in from the street, run. 6. The checklist syndrome. Here's another trap: the tourist checklist. Tourists arrive in a city and immediately turn into collectors. Eiffel Tower? Check. Times Square? Check. Great Wall? Check. But here's the mistake: confusing sightseeing with experiencing. You rush from monument to monument, snapping photos, but never truly living the culture. You don't talk to locals. You don't get lost in small streets. You don't sit at a cafe just to watch life unfold. At the end of the trip, you have hundreds of photos, but no real memories. Just postcards you could have bought at the airport. The truth? The best moments in travel are often unplanned. The random conversations, the hidden streets, the wrong turns. That's where the soul of a city lives. 7. The language wall. It's evening now. You're out exploring, trying to connect with locals. But here comes mistake number 7. Not learning even the basics of the language. Every tourist does this. They assume everyone speaks English. And when people don't, they get frustrated. But imagine you're in your own country and a visitor approaches you, speaking only their language, expecting you to understand. How would you feel? Just learning hello, thank you, and please in the local tongue changes everything. It shows respect. It opens doors. It makes strangers smile. And those smiles, they're worth more than any landmark. 8. The souvenir illusion. Tourists love souvenirs. Keychains, magnets, t-shirts that say, "I love Paris." But here's mistake number 8. Buying things instead of memories. You stuff your suitcase with trinkets made in factories thinking they'll remind you of your trip. But the truth? Those things gather dust on shelves. The real souvenirs are stories, experiences. The meal you shared with a stranger, the time you got lost and found something magical, the feeling you had standing in front of a place you only saw in books. Objects fade, memories don't. 9. The time trap. Another mistake? Trying to see everything in too little time. Tourists often plan their trips like a military schedule. Breakfast at 8, museum at 9, tour at 11, lunch at 12, next city by 4. By the end, they've seen everything, but felt nothing. They return home more exhausted than when they left. The smarter path? Slow travel. Pick fewer places, but stay longer. Let the city breathe with you. Give yourself time to be surprised. 10. The real secret. And now, the biggest mistake of all, forgetting why you traveled in the first place. Tourism has become a race. Photos, checklists, bragging rights. But travel isn't about proving you were somewhere. It's about becoming someone new because you went. It's about getting lost, making mistakes, and learning from them. It's about breaking out of your bubble, seeing the world differently, and coming home with new eyes. So, what's the truth? Yes, tourists make mistakes. You will too, some small, some big. But those mistakes, missing a train, ordering the wrong food, getting lost, sometimes become the best parts of the story. The key is not to avoid mistakes completely. It's to avoid the obvious, predictable ones that steal your joy. The scams, the traps, the wasted opportunities. Everything else, that's part of the adventure. Because in the end, travel isn't about being a perfect tourist. It's about being a curious human. And the moment you stop worrying about being perfect, that's the moment your real journey begins.